I wanted to do a review on the Happy Jack Lippert component turnbuckles. You can get these in a set of 4. The advertisements, like on Amazon or other RV websites, will call them spring-loaded. And that's half true, because half of the set are spring-loaded. The spring-loaded ones will be the ones you want to use up front. The front ones will have the cylinder that'll be approximately 10 inches. You can see that. Those are the front ones. The rear ones, they have a rubber damper in them, and they'll be approximately 8 inches. So don't put those rear ones in the front. Also, when you screw these in, make sure the first thing you do is put this jam nut on, and then it'll come separate. This threaded piece will thread into the cylinder. First, put the jam nut on, because the first time I did it, I didn't notice a bag of these jam nuts, so I just threaded this in, hooked up my camper, took it about a 30-mile drive, and they loosened up. I said, well, they need to have jam nuts on them. Took a look at the instructions. It's like, yeah, I forgot to do that. So that was my bad, but nothing happened. And that's why I took the shakedown cruise, is just to work these out. So what you're going to have to do, now these are designed, you can use these for frame mounted. I have a frame mounted, but these were specifically designed, these spring-loaded ones, to use on the Happy Jack that hooks to a mount that's on the bed. All you'll have to do is put a piece of chain on that and then tighten it down. The rear ones you can mount on the frame, it doesn't matter. They're, like I said, these ones are not spring-loaded, they're rubber mounted. So it's crucial that you don't over tighten them. You just get them to the point where they're snug. The front ones, there's instructions. And down here, you notice that mark, see that 1/4 inch mark? Well, when you turn it the other way around, there'll be a little bit of tension on there, and you mark that. And then once you tighten that, and you get that tight, you measure a 1/4 inch. And once you get a 1/4 inch, that's a proper tension. So I mark those with black ink. So once I got to a 1/4 inch and I measured it with a tape measure, then I knew that that was a proper tension for these. See, they don't look, it's got some tension, it's not bad, but what happens is when you're driving, you're going to get the forward air is going to push up on the front. And so what happens is it sort of pivots a little bit in the back as you're driving. And it's going to porpoise a little bit up and down, not a lot, but that's why you put the spring-loaded ones up front. The rear ones won't do that. You're not going to, because unless you were driving in reverse and going the other way, but the wind, the air, is going to cause that front to want to just come up a little bit sometimes. So that's why you use the spring-loaded ones up front. The back ones don't need it. Now, you could probably use the spring-loaded ones in the back. I'm not exactly sure why they don't. But if you don't over-tension these, they'll be fine. Now, if you put these, if you reverse these, then you're going to have problems. This is going to bust and fall apart, and you're going to lose that, because there's several people that have done that. So another thing you'll notice is this thread piece is much shorter that you're going to use for the front one. The rear one is a whole lot longer. So those two things you have in the differences. So anyway, just make sure you put the jam nut on first. Don't over tighten this. See a little bit of flex there. Tighten, once you get it where you want, then you tighten the jam nut. All you got to do is turn that so it climbs up the thread. Both sides. Climb up the thread. It's a 3/4 inch wrench on these. Once you get it to where it needs to be, tighten down that jam nut. Take it for a drive, 10, 15 miles, something. Come back. See what you think. If it's where you want it, then you're good. I just took a 2-day trip and traveled a couple hundred miles over some pretty hilly, bumpy roads, gravel roads, and some highway speeds. It handled really fine. I don't have airbags. This is a F250 4x4 5.4 gasser. It had the camper package on it. I could probably use airbags, and it probably would help. It didn't. So those are some overload that I created with that rubber pad. I put a 2-inch stock with the rubber pad so it engages that spring and just gives it a little bit more lift. The difference between the front and the back with the camper on, fully loaded with full water and all of our gear, is about just over a 1/2 inch. So the back end is a 1/2 inch lower than the front end. The other thing I did is all my tools, I mounted a toolbox with a front end hitch receiver. That was modified to get it low enough because I don't want to cover the air conditioner condenser and the radiator airflow, and it's worked really good. So I just got this off Craigslist, dirt cheap, mounted it. See if you can see down below how I mounted it. From a Harbor Freight $50 receiver hitch basket. Put a couple crossbars for stabilizing it. Hey, it's worked really good. So anyway, that's my camper review, or actually my review for my tie-down setup. The frame mount tie-downs were fabbed by a friend of mine who welds, and then I painted them with POR, and that POR is great stuff. I can't say enough good things about POR. That's really, POR 15 is what you want on anything that's going to be exposed to corrosion, road salt, anything like that. And I wish I would have done it underneath my frame as well. So anyway, Lippert component, Happy Jack, turnbuckles. I think that's all you need to know. If you guys have any comments, just leave them below. Thank you.